Welcome, dear listeners, to another cozy night of myths and legends. Tonight, as the world outside drifts to sleep, we'll journey to the heart of Norse mythology. Our story features Odin, the All-Father, and his incredible sacrifice on the world tree, Yggdrasil, to uncover the secrets of the runes. Settle in, get comfortable, and let's discover how wisdom was won. But just before we begin, if our stories help you drift off, please tap the like and subscribe buttons. In my channel, you can find Norse, Greek, and Egyptian mythology tales. Comment and tell me which myth you'd like to hear next. Your support helps us craft and shape more calm stories for fellow night owls. And now let your shoulders sink softly into the mattress and your mind drift into today's tale. The great hall of Valaskjalf stood silent. Its golden roof gleamed softly. Beyond its walls, Asgard slept beneath a blanket of stars. Odin, the All-Father, sat upon Hlidskjalf. His throne was carved from ancient, shimmering wood. From this high seat, he could gaze upon all 9 realms. He saw the icy peaks of Jotunheim. He observed the bustling markets of Midgard. Yet, a quiet disquiet stirred within him. A deep yearning pulsed in his heart. It was a hunger for knowledge, vast and profound. He possessed immense power. He commanded legions of valiant warriors. But something vital was missing. His wisdom, though great, felt incomplete. He sought a truth beyond his grasp. He desired an understanding that transcended all current knowing. This desire gnawed at him. His single eye, piercing and keen, scanned the distant cosmos. It was an eye that had witnessed countless ages. It had seen empires rise and fall. It had observed the dance of suns and moons. Yet, it yearned for more. It yearned for a deeper insight. It longed for a wisdom that resonated with the very pulse of creation. He remembered ancient prophecies. He recalled whispered tales from forgotten ages. These stories spoke of primordial secrets. They hinted at truths hidden from even the gods. This untapped well of knowledge called to him. It beckoned with an irresistible allure. He felt a profound dissatisfaction with his current state. Sleep did not come easily to him these nights. His thoughts churned like a restless sea. He paced the grand halls of Valaskjalf. His footsteps echoed softly on the polished floors. The silence seemed to amplify his inner turmoil. He longed for answers. He yearned for ultimate understanding. He thought of Mimir, the wisest being in all the cosmos. Mimir guarded the well of wisdom. This well lay deep beneath the roots of Yggdrasil. Its waters held the secrets of the universe. Odin decided to seek Mimir's counsel. He would journey to the well. He would ask for guidance. The journey was long and arduous. Odin rode his 8-legged steed, Sleipnir. They galloped across Bifrost, the shimmering rainbow bridge. Its colors sparkled under the dim starlight. They passed through realms known and unknown. The air grew colder as they descended. They reached the desolate lands beneath Yggdrasil. The ancient trees' roots stretched like gnarled fingers. They delved deep into the earth. a mystical mist clung to the ground. The silence here was profound. It was a silence that spoke of ancient power. Odin dismounted Sleipnir. He approached the well of wisdom. Its waters shimmered with an ethereal glow. Mimir sat beside it. His eyes were ancient. They held the wisdom of countless eons. He looked at Odin with a knowing gaze. No words were needed. "I seek ultimate wisdom," Odin declared. His voice was steady. "My current knowledge feels insufficient. I yearn for a truth that transcends all." Mimir nodded slowly. His gaze held a deep, quiet understanding. "The waters here hold all secrets," he rumbled. His voice was like distant thunder. "But wisdom comes at a price. It demands sacrifice." Odin knew this. He had always understood the cost of true knowledge. "Name your price," he said. His resolve was firm. Mimir gestured to the well. "A draught from these waters requires a pledge. It requires a part of yourself." His gaze was unblinking. "Your eye, Allfather. Your eye for true insight." A moment of silence hung heavy in the air. Odin considered the demand. His eye was precious. It was his window to the world. But the hunger for knowledge was stronger. It dwarfed all other desires. He made his choice. He reached up. He plucked out his own eye. Blood welled up. He offered it to Mimir. The pain was immense, but his resolve did not waver. Mimir took the eye. He placed it gently into the well. The waters swirled. Then Mimir offered Odin a horn. It was filled with the well's luminous water. Odin drank deeply. The liquid was cold and invigorating. It tasted of starlight and ancient earth. As he drank, visions flooded his mind. He saw the past, the present, and the future. He witnessed the birth of the cosmos. He saw the intricate dance of fate. He glimpsed the hidden threads of existence. The knowledge was overwhelming. It was profound. It was exhilarating. He saw the cyclical nature of life and death. He understood the interconnectedness of all things. The universe unfolded before him. Its mysteries began to unravel. He felt a sense of awe. He felt a deep, quiet understanding. But amidst this vast knowledge, a new question arose. He saw glimpses of something more. He saw fragments of a deeper truth. It was a truth that lay beyond even Mimir's well. It was a wisdom that resonated with the very fabric of existence. He saw symbols. They were ancient and primal. They shimmered at the edges of his vision. They held immense power. They seemed to whisper of secrets untold. These were the runes. Their presence was fleeting. Their message was elusive. He thanked Mimir. He felt a profound gratitude. He had gained immense wisdom, but the yearning still lingered. It was a subtle echo. It was a whisper of something yet to be discovered. He knew he had to seek further. He rode Sleipnir back towards Asgard. The journey felt different this time. The world seemed to vibrate with new meaning. Every leaf, every stone, every cloud held a hidden story. His newly acquired Wisdom illuminated everything. As he approached Asgard, he felt a pull. It was a gentle summons. It led him towards the sacred spring of Urther. This spring lay at the second root of Yggdrasil. It was guarded by the Norns. These were the weavers of fate. The Norns were three sisters. Their names were Urther, Verthandi, and Skuld. Urther represented the past. Verthandi embodied the present. Skuld personified the future. They sat beneath the great tree. They spun the threads of destiny. Odin approached them with reverence. Their faces were ancient. Their eyes held the wisdom of all ages. They greeted him with knowing smiles. They seemed to anticipate his arrival. They knew his quest. Allfather, Urther began. Her voice was like the rustling of autumn leaves. You seek the ultimate truth. You seek the hidden wisdom. The well of Mimir has granted me much, Odin replied. But I perceive a deeper secret. I sense a knowledge that predates even fate itself. Verthandi, whose voice was like a gentle spring breeze, spoke next. The wisdom you seek is primal. It is woven into the very essence of creation. It is the language of the cosmos. Skuld, her voice like the crisp chill of winter air, concluded. It is the wisdom of the runes. They are the secrets of the universe. They hold boundless power. Odin's heart quickened. The runes, the symbols he had glimpsed in Mimir's well. They held the key. How can I obtain this wisdom? He asked. His voice was filled with eagerness. The Norns exchanged glances. Their smiles were enigmatic. The runes demand a sacrifice, Urther stated. Her gaze was piercing. A sacrifice of unparalleled devotion. A sacrifice of self. You must hang, Verthandi added. Her voice was soft. You must hang upon the world tree for 9 days and 9 nights, without food or drink. You must be pierced by your own spear, Skuld finished. Her voice was solemn. You must offer yourself to yourself. It is the ultimate offering. It is the path to true insight. Odin listened intently. The gravity of their words settled upon him. This was a sacrifice unlike any other. It was a complete surrender. It was an offering of his very being. He would become one with the tree. He would become one with the cosmos. He felt a deep conviction rise within him. This was the path. This was the ultimate quest. The hunger for knowledge intensified. It became an unyielding force. He knew he had to undertake this ordeal. He spent the next days in quiet contemplation. He walked through the halls of Valaskjalf. He observed the daily lives of his people. He watched the sun rise and set. He felt a profound sense of anticipation. He prepared himself mentally. He embraced the coming hardship. He understood the deep significance of this sacrifice. It was not merely about gaining knowledge. It was about becoming knowledge. It was about merging with the source of all truth. He thought of the power the runes held. They were not mere symbols. They were the very building blocks of reality. They were the whispers of creation. They were the ancient song of the universe. To understand them was to understand everything. He remembered the faint shimmering he had seen, the elusive glimpses in Mimir's well. They had been like distant stars beckoning him. Now he understood their true nature. They were the keys to unlocking ultimate power. His mind replayed the Norn's words. You must hang upon the world tree. The image was vivid. He would be suspended between realms. He would be between life and death. This liminal space was where true wisdom resided, without food or drink. This was a test of endurance. It was a cleansing. It was a stripping away of all earthly needs. It was a journey into pure spirit, pierced by your own spear. This was the ultimate act of self-sacrifice. It was an offering of his very essence. It was a symbolic death. It was a rebirth into profound understanding. He felt a strange calm settle over him. The urgency of his quest had transformed. It was no longer a frantic search. It was a solemn pilgrimage. He was ready to embark upon this final, most challenging journey. He walked to the edge of Asgard. He looked out at the vast expanse of the cosmos. The stars twinkled like distant promises. He felt a connection to everything. He felt a profound sense of purpose. His heart swelled with resolve. He would face this ordeal. He would embrace the pain. He would endure the suffering. For at the end of this path lay the ultimate prize. It was the wisdom of the runes. It was the understanding of all things. He gazed one last time at his beloved Asgard. Its golden halls seemed to hum with quiet energy. He knew he would return transformed. He would return with a wisdom that surpassed all others. He would be the All-Father, truly. The air grew cool. The night deepened. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of ancient trees. Odin stood tall. His single eye, now filled with the wisdom of Mimir's well, shone brightly. It reflected the distant stars. He felt the whispers of wisdom calling him. They were the faint echoes of the runes. They were the promise of ultimate truth. He was ready to answer their call. He was ready to sacrifice all. He was ready to become one with the universe. His journey was about to begin. The path was clear. The purpose was profound. He would seek the runes. He would unlock their secrets. He would become the embodiment of ultimate wisdom. The stage was set. The sacrifice awaited. The journey was long, it was arduous. Odin descended deeper and deeper. The air grew thick and heavy. It hummed with ancient power. He passed through realms unseen. He felt their unique vibrations. Each realm contributed to the great tree. Yggdrasil connected them all. He saw Muspelheim, a land of fire. Its flames danced in the distance. He felt its searing heat. It was a realm of creation. Then came Niflheim, a realm of mist. Its cold embrace chilled him. He shivered despite his resolve. It was a realm of ice and shadow. He sensed the presence of Jotunheim. It was the land of the giants. Their immense power vibrated. He felt their ancient strength. Alfheim, the land of the light elves, glowed. A gentle luminescence emanated. It warmed his spirit softly. He paused, feeling its peace. Svartalfheim, the home of the dark elves, was dim. Its shadows stretched long and deep. He felt their hidden wisdom. It was a place of secrets. Midgard, his own realm, seemed distant now. He looked back at its familiar form. He felt a pang of longing. It was the world of humankind. Asgard, his home, was above him. Its golden halls shimmered. He remembered its grand beauty. He thought of his beloved hall. He continued his descent. The path grew narrower. The light faded further. Only a faint glow remained. He felt the tremors beneath him. A deep, resonant hum vibrated. It was the very pulse of creation. He was nearing the tree's roots. The roots of Yggdrasil were immense. They twisted and turned. They burrowed into the earth. They anchored the cosmos. They pulsed with raw energy. He could feel their ancient power. It surged through the very ground. It was the lifeblood of existence. He saw the great serpent, Nithhurgr. It coiled around the roots. Its scales gleamed in the dim light. It gnawed ceaselessly on the roots. Nithhurgr was a creature of chaos. It represented destruction. Its presence was unsettling. He felt its immense hunger. Odin watched the serpent. He understood its purpose. It was a necessary force. It kept the balance of all things. He felt a deep respect for it, even in its destructive nature. It played a vital role. It was part of the grand design. He continued his careful approach. The air grew heavier still. It pressed down upon him. He felt its immense weight. Then he saw it, the well of Urd. Its waters shimmered with light. They reflected the cosmos above. It was a place of profound wisdom. 3 Norns tended the well: Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld. They were the weavers of fate. They shaped all that was, is, and will be. Urd, the eldest, represented the past. Her gaze was ancient and deep. She held memories of all time. Her wisdom was immeasurable. Verdandi, the middle Norn, embodied the present. Her eyes were bright and keen. She saw the unfolding moments. She wove the threads of now. Skuld, the youngest, represented the future. Her face was veiled in shadow. Her touch was ethereal and light. She held the promise of tomorrow. They sat by the well. They drew water from its depths. They watered the roots of Yggdrasil. They nourished the tree of life. Odin approached them with reverence. He felt their immense power. He knew their importance. They held the destiny of all. "Greetings, Norns," he said softly. His voice echoed faintly. "I seek wisdom here." His tone was humble and true. Urd looked up, her eyes ancient. "Odin," she intoned slowly, "you seek what is hidden." Her voice was like rustling leaves. Verdandi nodded, her gaze steady. "The path you choose," she began, "is fraught with peril." Her voice was clear and resonant. Skuld remained silent, veiled. Her presence was a mystery. She hinted at what was to come. Her silence spoke volumes. I seek the runes, Odin stated. His resolve was firm. I must understand their power. He spoke with conviction. Erd sighed, a sound like wind. The runes demand sacrifice, she said. A great price must be paid. Her words were heavy with meaning. Verdandi added, only through suffering, she continued, can true understanding be gained. Her voice was unwavering. Odin nodded, his gaze unwavering. I know the cost, he affirmed. I am prepared to pay it. His heart was resolute. He looked at the well. Its waters swirled gently. He saw reflections of himself. He saw his future and his past. He saw his triumphs and his failures. He saw his love and his loss. He saw the path he had walked. He saw the path ahead. He felt the weight of his destiny. It settled upon his shoulders. It was a heavy burden. Yet, he embraced it fully. He looked at the Norns again. Tell me, he began, what must I do? His voice was filled with earnestness. Erd's gaze deepened. You must hang, she said, upon the tree itself. Her words were stark and clear. Verdandi added, for 9 nights and days, she stated, between life and death. Her voice held no pity. Skuld remained silent. Her veiled face hinted. The future was unwritten. Yet the path was set. Odin absorbed their words. The sacrifice was immense. It was beyond anything he had known. He felt a tremor of fear, but it was fleeting. His resolve quickly returned. He knew this was his purpose. This was his destiny. He looked at the roots of Yggdrasil. They pulsed with life. He saw the connections between realms. He understood the cosmic tapestry. He felt the immense power. It surged around him. It flowed through the very air. It was overwhelming. He closed his eyes for a moment. He took a deep, steadying breath. He centered himself once more. He found his inner strength. He opened his eyes. His gaze was clear. He was ready for the ordeal. He was prepared for the sacrifice. He had journeyed to the depths. He had faced ancient beings. He had glimpsed the abyss. He had seen his own fate. Now he would ascend. He would climb the mighty tree. He would face the ultimate test. He would earn the runes. He bowed to the Norns. Thank you, he said. His voice was filled with gratitude. For your wisdom. Erd gave a slight nod. Verdandi offered a small smile. Skuld remained still, a mystery. Their roles were complete. Odin turned from the well. He began his ascent. The path was steep. He felt the pull of the tree. He climbed with purpose. Each step was deliberate. He felt the rough bark beneath his hands. He felt the ancient wood. He thought of his people. He thought of Asgard. He thought of the knowledge he sought. It fueled his climb. The journey upwards was arduous. He felt the strain in his muscles. He felt the chill in the air. He felt the immense solitude. He knew he was alone, but he was not truly alone. The spirits of the cosmos surrounded him. They watched his every move. He felt the presence of the gods. He felt the presence of the giants. He felt the presence of all beings. They were part of him. He was part of them. He was connected to all things. He was part of the great tree. He was part of Yggdrasil. He continued his relentless climb. The light grew stronger. He saw the stars above. He saw the vastness of space. He felt a deep sense of peace. Despite the coming ordeal, he was where he needed to be. He was on his destined path. He reached a high branch. It was strong and sturdy. It extended out into the void. It was his chosen spot. He looked out across the realms. He saw the shimmering Bifrost. He saw the distant glow of Asgard. He saw the world below. He took another deep breath. He prepared himself mentally. He prepared himself spiritually. This was the moment. He was Odin, the Allfather. He was the seeker of wisdom. He was the protector of realms. He was ready for the runes. He felt the ancient power. It coursed through his veins. It was the power of creation. It was the power of destruction. He embraced it all. He embraced the balance. He embraced the light and the shadow. He embraced his destiny. He looked up at the sky. He saw the vast expanse. He saw the endless possibilities. He felt a profound sense of awe. He closed his eyes again. He visualized the runes. He saw their intricate patterns. He felt their ancient power. He knew they held secrets. He knew they held truth. He knew they held the wisdom he sought. He knew they held the key. He opened his eyes. His gaze was unwavering. He was ready. He was finally ready. The wind whispered through the branches. It carried ancient songs. It carried forgotten tales. It carried the promise of knowledge. Odin stood firm. His heart was steady. His mind was clear. His spirit was resolute. He was about to embark on the greatest journey of all, the journey into himself, the journey for wisdom. The sun began to set. Its golden rays illuminated the tree. They cast long shadows. They painted the sky in hues of fire. The world seemed to hold its breath, anticipating the coming sacrifice, anticipating the awakening, anticipating the runes. Odin felt the stillness, the profound silence. It was the silence before creation. It was the silence before revelation. He was alone, yet connected. He was isolated, yet part of everything. He was about to transcend. He was about to become more. The air grew colder. The stars began to appear. They twinkled like distant eyes. They watched his every move. He raised his head. His eyes scanned the heavens. He saw the constellations. He saw the cosmic dance. He was ready to begin. The long vigil, the painful ordeal, the ultimate sacrifice. He was ready to receive the ancient wisdom, the hidden knowledge, the power of the runes. His journey to the roots had prepared him for this. It had shown him the vastness. It had shown him the truth. He had faced his fears. He had embraced his destiny. He had found his strength. He was ready for the next step. The tree welcomed him. Its ancient branches swayed gently. It offered its support. It offered its enduring strength. He would become one with it. He would become part of its story. He would become part of its wisdom. He would become the All-Father. He closed his eyes for a final moment. He breathed in the cool night air. He prepared for the coming dawn. He prepared for the runes. He was ready. His heart was open. His mind was clear. His spirit was willing. The stage was set. The sacrifice awaited. The runes beckoned. Odin was ready. The climb began. Odin faced the immense trunk. Yggdrasil stretched upward. It touched the very heavens. Its bark was ancient. It felt rough beneath his hands. Years, millennia, had sculpted its surface. Each ridge, each furrow, told a silent story. He grasped the first handhold. His muscles tensed with effort. The ascent was immediate. It demanded his full strength. The air grew thinner. He felt a cool breath upon his cheek. The forest floor receded below him. It became a tapestry of greens and browns. He climbed steadily, without hesitation. His purpose fueled each movement. The great tree hummed with a quiet energy. It was a living, breathing entity. Its roots delved deep into realms unseen. Its branches cradled worlds beyond imagining. Hours blurred into a timeless journey. The sun, a distant jewel, arced across the sky. Then it dipped below the horizon. Moonlight, pale and silver, bathed the immense trunk. Odin climbed through the night. His grip remained firm. His resolve never wavered. The tree offered challenges at every turn. Some sections were smooth. They offered little purchase. Others were gnarled. They provided precarious holds. He pushed onward, ever upward. His breath came in steady rhythm. The world below shrank further. It became a distant, hazy memory. He was alone with the mighty tree. Its presence enveloped him. The scent of ancient wood filled his senses. It was earthy, profound, and comforting. He could hear the soft rustle of leaves. They whispered secrets of the cosmos. Higher he climbed. The wind began to sing. It whistled through the upper branches. Its song was ancient. It spoke of vast distances. The stars, countless diamonds, glittered above him. They seemed closer now, almost within reach. He felt a profound isolation. Yet, it was an isolation of peace. He was a solitary figure on a cosmic stairway. Days passed in this relentless ascent. His body ached, but his spirit soared. He subsisted on little food. He drank from dew-kissed leaves. The tree provided for him. It nourished his journey. He saw creatures of the upper realms. Swift-winged birds soared past him. Their cries echoed in the vastness. Squirrels darted among the branches. They watched him with curious eyes. He climbed through mists. They swirled around him like soft clouds. He climbed through sunbeams. They painted the bark in golden hues. The immensity of Yggdrasil became clearer. It was not merely a tree. It was the very axis of existence. It connected all things. It held all realms together. He felt its pulse. It vibrated through his hands. Finally, after what seemed an age, he neared the summit. The trunk began to taper. The branches grew thicker, more ancient. They were gnarled with countless years. A profound stillness settled around him. The wind softened its song. The air grew crisp and clear. He could see all of creation below him. It stretched out like an intricate map. He reached the very pinnacle. It was a vast, flat expanse. The bark here was smooth. It was polished by time. A single, mighty branch extended from the center. It pointed directly upwards. It pierced the very fabric of the sky. This was the place. This was the sacred ground. His journey had led him here. Odin stood tall upon the summit. His heart beat with anticipation. He drew Gungnir from his side. The spear gleamed in the celestial light. Its shaft was ash wood. It was smooth to the touch. Its tip was forged of purest gold. It hummed with latent power. This was no ordinary weapon. It was a tool of cosmic purpose. He held the spear before him. Its point shimmered. He looked at the vastness around him. He looked at the endless sky. His gaze was unwavering. His eyes held deep conviction. He knew what must be done. This act was crucial. It was the key to his quest. He took a deep, steadying breath. Then, with a deliberate motion, he plunged Gungnir into himself. The spear pierced his side. It entered just below his ribs. A sharp, searing pain exploded. It radiated through his entire being. His breath caught in his throat. He gasped, a guttural sound. The shock was immense. It was overwhelming. His knees buckled. He fell forward. The spear held him aloft. It impaled him to the mighty branch. His body hung suspended. It was a macabre offering. Blood welled from the wound. It stained the ancient bark. It trickled down the spear's shaft. The pain coiled around him. It was a living, breathing entity. His muscles spasmed involuntarily. His vision blurred. He tasted iron in his mouth. A wave of nausea washed over him. This was beyond anything he had imagined. The agony was profound. It threatened to consume him. Yet, he clung to his purpose. He focused on his ultimate goal. He must endure this. He gritted his teeth. His jaw was clenched tight. Sweat beaded on his brow. It mingled with the blood. His mind raced, grappling with the sensation. Every nerve ending screamed. His body screamed for release. But he held fast, he held firm. He would not yield to the pain. This was a sacrifice. The impalement was complete. He hung there, suspended. The spear was fixed through him. It connected him to the tree. He was part of Yggdrasil now. He was part of its immense energy. The initial shock began to subside. A dull ache replaced the searing pain. It throbbed with a relentless rhythm. He closed his eyes for a moment. He drew on his inner strength. He envisioned the runes. He saw them forming in his mind. They were indistinct, elusive, but he knew they were there. They waited for him. This immense suffering was the price. It was the gateway to knowledge. He opened his eyes slowly. The world seemed different now. It was seen through a veil of pain, but also through a veil of heightened awareness. He felt the tree's life force. It coursed through the branch. It flowed into his body. He felt the vastness of the cosmos. It surrounded him on all sides. He was at the center of it all. A profound silence descended. There was no wind. There was no rustle of leaves. Only the steady throb of his wound. Only the quiet hum of the universe. He was utterly alone. He was suspended between realms. The sun had set again. The moon cast long shadows. The stars glittered with cold indifference. He focused on his breath. Each inhale was a struggle. Each exhale was a release. He allowed the pain to wash over him. He did not fight it. He accepted it. It was part of the process. It was part of his transformation. His mind began to clear. His thoughts became sharper. The world around him faded. He was in a void. He was in a space of pure being. The agony was a constant companion. It was a reminder of his choice. He remembered his quest. He remembered the thirst for wisdom. He remembered the need for knowledge. This was the only path. This was the true path. He embraced the suffering. He hung there motionless. Hours passed. Days blurred into an eternity. He felt the cold of the night. He felt the warmth of the sun. His body grew weak. His strength ebbed away. But his spirit remained unbroken. His will remained unyielding. He was a symbol of determination. He was a beacon of sacrifice. The silence was absolute. No sound reached him. Only the whisper of his own blood. Only the distant beat of his own heart. He was truly alone. This solitude was profound. It was a crucible for his soul. He had chosen this path. He had embraced this destiny. There was no turning back now. He focused on the emptiness. He focused on the void. He waited for the runes. He waited for their revelation. He knew they would come. They would emerge from the depths. They would appear in his mind. This was the waiting. This was the vigil. This was the long, arduous journey's end. His vision was fixed. It stared into the vast distance. His eyes were open, but he saw past the physical. He saw into the unseen. He sought the hidden truths. He sought the ancient wisdom. The pain was a constant reminder. It was a toll for the knowledge. He paid it willingly. He paid it completely. The blood continued to flow. It formed a dark trail. It trickled down the branch. It seeped into the tree. He was giving of himself. He was offering his essence. He was becoming one with Yggdrasil. He was becoming one with the cosmos. This was the ultimate communion. This was the sacred bond. His body swayed gently. It moved with the tree. It moved with the subtle currents. The air was still. The world was quiet. He was a solitary figure. He was a testament to will. He was a seeker of truth. He was a god in torment. He was Odin, the All-Father. He was sacrificing all. The moments stretched into eternity. Each breath was a conscious effort. Each beat of his heart was a reminder. He was alive despite the wound. He was enduring despite the agony. He was waiting despite the uncertainty. He was a living paradox. He was a god in human form. He was a being of immense power, humbled by his quest. The stars above him rotated slowly. They marked the passage of time. He watched them with unblinking eyes. They were silent witnesses. They observed his suffering. They observed his patience. They held the secrets he sought. They held the knowledge he craved. He felt a connection to them. He felt a profound kinship. The wind returned. It was a soft whisper. It rustled through his hair. It caressed his weary face. It was a gentle touch. It was a sign of life. It was a reminder of the world. But he was beyond that now. He was in a different space. He was in a different time. He was waiting for revelation. He was waiting for the runes. They were the key. They were the answer. They were the wisdom he sought. They would unlock the universe. They would reveal its mysteries. He had paid the price. He had made the sacrifice. Now he would receive the gift. He would receive the sacred knowledge. He was suspended. He was impaled. He was suffering. He was waiting. The silence was his companion. The pain was his teacher. The tree was his anchor. The stars were his guide. He was Odin the seeker. He was Odin the sacrificed. He was Odin on the precipice of enlightenment. His journey continued in silent agony on the mighty Yggdrasil. The fourth night descended slowly. A blanket of bruised purples and deep indigos spread across the vast sky. So deep it seemed to absorb all sound, leaving only the whisper of the wind. Odin hung there, suspended, a lonely silhouette against the cosmic canvas, a solitary figure against the boundless expanse. His body ached with a dull, persistent throb, a deep-seated ache that resonated from bone to muscle, a constant reminder of his ordeal. Every muscle screamed for release, a silent chorus of protest against the unyielding ropes that bound him. His throat felt like parched earth, cracked and dry, each swallow a painful rasp. A raw, burning sensation intensified with each shallow breath, as if inhaling fire rather than air. The thirst was a constant, gnawing presence, a phantom limb he could never quite soothe. It clawed at his senses, a relentless demand, a parched cry from the depths of his being. He remembered cool, clear streams, their waters rushing over smooth stones, their edges fringed with vibrant green moss. He pictured the rushing waters of the Oliviger, the primordial rivers, whose very coolness promised oblivion to his burning throat. He yearned for a single drop, a single, blessed drop to quench the inferno within him. His stomach, too, was a hollow pit, a vast, echoing cavern. A desperate emptiness resonated within him, a hunger so profound it felt like a physical absence. He thought of feasts in Valhalla, the groaning tables laden with roasted meats, the steaming stews, the crusty bread. He recalled the rich mead, shimmering golden in horn cups, and the succulent aroma of roasted boar, crackling over open fires. The very thought was a tantalizing torture. The memory was both torture and motivation. It reminded him of what he sought to protect, the prosperity, the joy, the very essence of the life he had built for his people. It fueled his resolve to endure this torment, to push past the agony and secure a future where such abundance could thrive. The wind, an unseen presence, whispered around him, a mournful sigh through the skeletal branches of Yggdrasil. It carried the scent of distant pines, sharp and resinous, mingled with the faint, earthy aroma of damp soil and ancient stone. It brought a chill that seeped into his very bones, a cold that was both external and internal, reaching into the core of his being. He shivered, not from cold alone, but from a profound weariness that settled upon him like a heavy shroud. It was a weariness of the spirit, a bone-deep exhaustion that transcended physical pain. He closed his eyes briefly, seeking a moment of respite, a sliver of peace in the relentless torment. But even that small solace was denied. Visions flickered behind his eyelids, not memories of a cherished past, but shadows of a dreadful future. They were dark, shifting forms, indistinct yet terrifyingly clear in their implications. They hinted at a bleak future, a world without the runes, a world stripped of order and meaning. They depicted a cosmos adrift in chaos, a swirling void where the very fabric of reality unraveled. He saw the Bifrost Bridge crumbling, its vibrant colors, the shimmering rainbow hues that spanned the cosmic divide fading to dust, dissolving into nothingness. The path to Asgard was lost, swallowed by the encroaching darkness. He saw Valhalla, silent and deserted, its grand halls echoing with emptiness. No laughter echoed in its hallowed halls, no clatter of swords or joyous shouts of warriors feasting at its tables. His beloved Einherjar were gone, their brave spirits vanished into the void, their valiant sacrifices forgotten, their names erased from memory. He saw Frigg, his queen, weeping, her beautiful face streaked with tears, her golden hair dulled by sorrow. Her sorrow was a heavy shroud, dark and suffocating, that enveloped all of creation, dimming the very stars. He saw his sons, brave and true, standing defenseless against the encroaching void, their light dimmed, their power waning. These visions were not real. He knew this intellectually, his rational mind clinging to that truth. Yet, they stirred a profound fear within him, a primal terror that seized his heart. They were a stark reminder, a chilling prophecy that showed the stakes of his quest, underscoring the dire consequences of failure. He opened his eyes again. The darkness had deepened, a velvety blackness that swallowed the distant horizons. The stars, countless pinpricks of light, began to emerge, piercing the velvet with their cold, brilliant gleam. They seemed to mock his suffering, glittering with cool indifference, distant, uncaring observers in his solitary ordeal. He focused on Yggdrasil, the mighty tree, its colossal trunk a silent sentinel reaching into the heavens. It anchored him to this reality, its ancient strength a palpable presence. Its gnarled bark was a tapestry of time, etched with the wisdom of ages, its surface rough and unyielding beneath his gaze. Its branches, vast and sprawling, reached into the heavens, touching the very constellations, while its roots delved deep into the earth, connecting to the primordial wellsprings of existence. He felt a strange connection to it, as if its ancient wisdom flowed into him, a calming current against the storm within. As if its resilience became his own, a shared burden, a shared strength. He remembered Mimir's words, echoing in his mind like a resonant drumbeat. Sacrifice must be total, Mimir had said, his voice deep and ancient. Only then will true knowledge be revealed. Only through utter surrender can the hidden truths be grasped. Odin had paid a heavy price already. He had sacrificed an eye, surrendering a part of himself for wisdom. He had endured 3 nights of agony, each one a testament to his unwavering resolve. But this torment was different. It was a deeper, more insidious pain, not just of the body, but a battle for his very soul, a struggle against the siren call of surrender. He felt the temptation to surrender, a soft voice whispering in his ear, sweet and seductive. "Give up, Odin," it murmured, a silken whisper that promised relief. "Return to Asgard. Your people need you. This suffering is pointless. What good is knowledge if you're broken?" The voice was insidious, preying on his weaknesses, on his love for his family, on his duty to his people. It offered the alluring comfort of escape, the warmth of his hall, the embrace of his queen. He imagined the warmth of his hall, the crackling fire, the familiar scent of wood smoke and roasted meat. He pictured the loving embrace of Frigg, her gentle touch, her comforting presence. He yearned for the laughter of his sons, the boisterous joy that filled his home. For a fleeting moment, he wavered, suspended between agony and allure. The thought of relief was overwhelmingly sweet, a beckoning light in the suffocating darkness. It beckoned him like a siren's song, promising solace and peace. But then, he remembered his purpose, the dire prophecies, the chaos that threatened to engulf all he held dear. He saw the future he sought to avert, the desolation, the endless night. He tightened his grip on the rope, the rough fibers biting into his skin, the sharp pain a grounding force. It pulled him back from the precipice of despair, reminding him of his resolve, sharpening his focus. He began to meditate, a practice he had learned from the wise and ancient Vanir. It was a way to transcend physical pain, to find stillness amidst the storm. He focused on his breath, each inhalation a slow, deliberate act, pulling in the cold, clean air. Each exhalation released a sliver of tension, a fragment of pain, a whisper of doubt. He tried to empty his mind, to quiet the clamor within him, the competing voices of hunger, thirst, and fear. He aimed for a state of pure awareness, a space where only the present moment existed. The hunger and thirst receded slightly, becoming background noise, a distant hum. The pain dulled to a persistent ache, a familiar companion rather than a screaming tormentor. He envisioned a tranquil lake, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the heavens above. No ripples disturbed its glassy expanse, only the serene reflection of a boundless sky. He imagined himself standing on its shore, whole and unburdened, at peace. This mental exercise was difficult, a battle of wills against his protesting body. His mind fought against the stillness, the constant demands of his physical form. But he persisted, pushing through the discomfort, refusing to yield. He remembered the stories, tales of ancient giants, their immense strength and unwavering endurance. Sagas of primordial beings who had faced immense challenges, endured unimaginable trials, and emerged stronger, transformed by their suffering. He drew strength from their legends, found inspiration in their resilience, tapping into a deeper well of courage within himself. Hours passed, marked only by the shifting stars, their silent procession across the cosmic dome. The night deepened around him, the silence profound, broken only by the faint whisper of the wind. He felt a subtle change within him, a growing clarity emerging from the depths of his being. A deeper understanding began to dawn, a profound realization. The suffering was not just punishment, not merely a test. It was a crucible, forging him anew, refining his spirit. Each pang of hunger refined his spirit, stripping away the superfluous. Each throb of pain sharpened his focus, honing his senses. Each moment of thirst purified his resolve, burning away impurities. He was shedding his old self, the All-Father of feasts and battles, the ruler of a comfortable realm. He was becoming something more, something raw and elemental, something closer to the source of all knowledge, to the very essence of existence. The air grew colder. The stars seemed to grow brighter, their light more intense. A faint, ethereal glow emanated from Yggdrasil itself, a subtle luminescence that pulsed with ancient power. It was almost imperceptible, a shimmering aura of cosmic energy, a subtle vibration that resonated through the very air. He felt it resonate within him, a deep, resonant hum, a sense of profound connection. He was not alone. He was part of something larger, intertwined with the very fabric of existence, a single thread in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. He thought of the Norns, Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld, the weavers of fate, their ethereal fingers guiding the threads of destiny. Their well, the well of Urd, lay near here, its waters holding the secrets of the past, its depths mirroring the future. He wondered if they watched him now, if they saw his struggle, if his fate was already sealed in the intricate patterns of their loom. He did not fear their judgment. He accepted his destiny, embraced the path he had chosen. He was Odin, the All-Father, the seeker of knowledge, the protector of his people. And he would not falter. He would not yield. He would endure until the very end. The night began to wane, a sliver of pale light appearing on the horizon, a faint blush against the dark. The first hint of dawn, a promise of renewal. The cold intensified just before the sun's return, the deepest part of the night, the most challenging hour. He felt a profound exhaustion, his body a leaden weight, his mind struggling to stay alert, to fight off the encroaching darkness of unconsciousness. But a flicker of hope ignited within him, a tiny ember in the vast darkness, the promise of a new day, a fresh start, a chance to continue. He had survived another night, 4 nights down, 5 more to go. The thought was both daunting and encouraging. He had come this far. He could go further. He focused on the light. It grew slowly, spreading across the sky, chasing away the shadows, painting the heavens with soft hues of rose and gold. The first rays of dawn touched the ancient branches of Yggdrasil, bathing the mighty tree in a golden luminescence. It was a sight of breathtaking beauty, a testament to enduring life, a symbol of hope. He drew strength from its radiance, felt a renewed sense of purpose, ready for the challenges of the coming day. The sun rose fully, bathing the world in warmth, its gentle heat soothing his aching limbs, its light piercing the lingering gloom. Birds began to sing, their melodies sweet and clear, a joyous chorus of life awakening. He listened, truly listened, for the first time in days, the sounds of balm to his weary soul. He felt a profound gratitude for the light, for the life around him, for the chance to continue. He closed his eye, not in weariness this time, but in quiet contemplation. He was still hungry. He was still thirsty. His body still screamed for relief, but his spirit was unshaken. His resolve was unyielding. His purpose was clear. He would endure. He would prevail. He would discover the runes, and with them he would secure the future. He would protect his people. He would bring order to the cosmos. He was Odin the Seeker, and his quest continued through endless suffering toward ultimate knowledge. The new day stretched before him, a day of continued hardship, a day of unwavering resolve. He would meet it head on. He would embrace the pain. He would push beyond his limits for the sake of all, for the sake of the cosmos, for the sake of the runes. The 4th day dawned, muted and gray. Odin's body, once a vessel of power, now felt like a hollowed-out shell. The sharp pangs of hunger had dulled, replaced by a deep, throbbing ache. Thirst was a constant companion, a dry rasp at the back of his throat. Yet a subtle shift had occurred. The physical torment, though still present, no longer consumed his every thought. It had receded, becoming a low hum beneath the surface of his awareness. A new kind of perception began to awaken within him. His eyes, though heavy-lidded, seemed to see beyond the immediate. The gnarled branches of Yggdrasil, once merely wood and leaf, now pulsed with a faint, unseen light. He felt the slow, steady flow of sap within their veins. He sensed the deep, hidden roots, anchoring the world tree to the primordial void. The wind, whispering through the silent boughs, carried more than just scent. It brought echoes of distant lands, faint impressions of bustling markets and quiet forests. He felt the subtle vibrations of the earth, the slow, tectonic shifts deep beneath the surface. He was becoming attuned to the quiet language of the cosmos. Hugin, his thought, perched on a nearby branch. His keen black eyes watched Odin with an unblinking gaze. Munin, his memory, rested on Odin's shoulder, a silent, watchful presence. They were his only companions in this desolate space. Their silent vigil offered a strange comfort. They were extensions of himself, his mind, and his past. Their presence grounded him, even as his consciousness began to expand beyond the confines of his body. He felt their quiet understanding. A faint shimmer began to dance around him. It was not a light, but a feeling, a vibration in the air. It was the cosmic web, the intricate tapestry woven by the Norns. He had always known of its existence, a theoretical concept. Now, he began to perceive its threads. They were fine, almost invisible, yet undeniably present. They crisscrossed the vast expanse, connecting everything to everything else. He saw threads of shimmering silver, representing joy and laughter. He saw threads of deep, somber gray, foretelling sorrow and loss. He reached out, not with his hand, but with his burgeoning awareness. He felt a faint tug, a subtle vibration. It was the thread of his own destiny, intertwining with countless others. He felt the weight of past choices, the potential of future paths. The Norns, those ancient weavers of fate, were unseen. Yet, their presence was palpable. He felt the steady rhythm of their looms, the rhythmic click of their shuttles. Each thread, meticulously placed, contributed to the grand design. A fleeting vision flickered before his eyes. It was a scene from the distant past. He saw the primordial giants, vast and formless, emerging from the icy mists of Niflheim. He saw the birth of the first gods, strong and vibrant. The images were fleeting, like wisps of smoke, yet they held a strange clarity. Then the vision shifted. It was a glimpse of the future, unsettling and stark. He saw a world consumed by fire, the sky ablaze with the fury of Surt. He saw the gods, his kin, locked in a desperate struggle. The Bifrost Bridge crumbled, its vibrant colors fading to ash. Ragnarok, the end of days. He had always known it would come, a prophecy whispered in hushed tones. But to witness even a fragment of it, to feel the heat of the flames, the despair of his brethren, it was a chilling experience. A wave of profound sadness washed over him. He felt the weight of inevitability, the crushing burden of destiny. Yet, within that sorrow, a strange resolve began to form. This knowledge, however painful, was necessary. It was a piece of the grand puzzle. He closed his eyes, drawing a slow, painful breath. The visions receded, leaving behind a lingering unease. But the perception of the cosmic web remained. He felt its intricate dance, its ceaseless movement. He was no longer merely observing, he was becoming a part of it. The fifth day arrived, bringing with it a subtle shift in the air. The chill had deepened, a biting cold that seeped into his bones. His skin felt stretched and dry, his lips cracked and bleeding. Yet, the physical discomfort continued to recede, a dull background noise. His senses were now heightened, almost painfully so. He heard the faint rustle of a mouse in the undergrowth, miles away. He smelled the subtle earthy scent of distant rain. His mind, once clouded by pain, was now remarkably clear. He focused his attention inward, searching for the source of his new perceptions. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a hidden layer of reality. He saw the faint aura surrounding every living thing, a subtle glow of life energy. He saw the energy flowing through the roots of Yggdrasil, connecting it to the 9 realms. It was a vibrant, pulsating current, a river of cosmic power. He felt its immense strength, its boundless energy. He was drawing sustenance from it, not through his body, but through his spirit. Hugin shifted on his branch, a soft coo escaping his beak. Munin ruffled his feathers on Odin's shoulder. They seemed to sense the change within him, the deepening of his awareness. They were silent witnesses to his transformation. He began to hear voices, faint whispers carried on the wind. They were not human voices, but the echoes of ancient beings, primordial forces. He heard the deep rumble of Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, stirring in the depths of the ocean. He heard the distant howl of Fenrir, the great wolf, straining against his chains. These were not visions, but auditory perceptions. He was hearing the very fabric of the cosmos, the subtle vibrations of its most powerful inhabitants. It was a symphony of creation and destruction, a constant ebb and flow of power. He focused on the Norns once more, their silent, tireless work. He began to discern patterns in their weaving, recurring motifs in the cosmic tapestry. He saw threads that represented courage, threads that represented betrayal. He saw the intricate dance of cause and effect. Another vision flickered, more vivid than the last. He saw himself, a younger Odin, leading the Aesir into battle. He saw the clash of steel, the roar of war cries. He felt the surge of adrenaline, the thrill of victory. Then the vision darkened. He saw the sacrifices he had made, the tough choices he had faced. He saw the price of power, the burden of leadership. He saw the sorrow of loss, the pain of sacrifice. He saw his own hand, stained with the blood of enemies and friends alike. He felt the weight of his past, the consequences of his actions. It was not a judgment, but a simple truth. Every choice, every action created a ripple effect, shaping the threads of destiny. He understood that his own threads were inextricably linked to the fate of the realms. A profound sense of loneliness settled upon him. He was the Allfather, the leader of the gods. Yet, in this vast cosmic awareness, he felt utterly alone. He was a single thread in an infinite tapestry, a solitary consciousness in a boundless universe. He yearned for knowledge, for understanding. The runes, those ancient symbols of power, remained elusive. He knew they held the key, the answers to his profound questions. He felt their presence, a faint whisper on the edge of his awareness, but they refused to reveal themselves. The 6th day stretched before him, a vast expanse of silence and introspection. The cold had intensified, a relentless embrace that threatened to steal his remaining warmth. His body was a testament to endurance, a stark monument to his unwavering will, yet his spirit soared. He was no longer bound by the limitations of his physical form. He was an observer, a participant in the grand cosmic dance. He felt the pull of gravity, the distant hum of celestial bodies. He felt the subtle magnetic forces that guided the stars. He reached out with his mind, exploring the furthest reaches of the cosmos. He saw galaxies swirling in the void, nebulae blooming like cosmic flowers. He saw the birth of stars, the silent death of suns. It was a spectacle of unimaginable beauty and terrifying power. Hugin and Munin remained steadfast, their silent presence a constant anchor. He felt their quiet strength, their unwavering loyalty. They were his connection to the tangible world, his bridge between the inner and outer realms. He began to perceive the flow of magic, the subtle currents of energy that permeated all things. He saw the faint shimmer around magical creatures, the vibrant glow of enchanted artifacts. He understood that magic was not merely a force, but a living, breathing entity. He saw the threads of fate, not as static lines, but as dynamic, constantly shifting currents. He saw how choices, even small ones, could alter their course. He understood that destiny was not entirely predetermined, but a complex interplay of will and circumstance. Another vision, more potent than the last, surged through him. He saw the giants, the ancient enemies of the gods, gathering their forces. He saw the Jotunheim mountains, dark and foreboding, teeming with their monstrous forms. He felt their immense power, their ancient hatred. He saw the frost giants, cold and unyielding, their breath like icy winds. He saw the fire giants, their bodies blazing with destructive heat. He saw their leaders, cunning and cruel, plotting the downfall of Asgard. He saw himself, old and weary, facing them alone. He saw the inevitable battle, the clash of titans. He felt the profound sorrow of a world on the brink of collapse. He felt the immense responsibility that rested upon his shoulders. A deep sigh escaped his lips, a dry, rasping sound. The vision faded, leaving behind a profound sense of foreboding. The knowledge of Ragnarok was no longer a distant prophecy. It was a tangible threat, a looming shadow. Yet within that fear, a spark of determination ignited. He would not cower. He would not surrender. He would seek the knowledge, the power, to face this ultimate challenge. The runes, he knew, held the key to his survival, to the survival of his world. He felt a growing sense of anticipation, a thrilling tremor of excitement. He was on the precipice of discovery. The runes were close, their presence almost palpable. He could feel their ancient power, their silent wisdom. He reached out, not with his hand, but with the full force of his expanded consciousness. He pressed against the invisible barrier that separated him from their knowledge. He felt the resistance, a subtle pushback, but he did not falter. He knew that the journey was not yet complete. More trials lay ahead, more pain to endure. But he was ready. He was no longer merely enduring, he was actively seeking. He was no longer merely surviving, he was transforming. The ancient whispers grew louder, clearer. They were not words, but concepts, pure understanding. They spoke of balance, of sacrifice, of the interconnectedness of all things. They spoke of the deep mysteries of the cosmos, the fundamental truths of existence. He felt a profound shift within him, a reordering of his very being. The physical suffering had been a crucible, forging a new kind of strength. The isolation had been a catalyst, opening his mind to unseen realities. He was becoming more than a god. He was becoming a vessel of cosmic awareness. He opened his eyes, gazing at the world tree. It seemed to pulse with a renewed vigor, its branches reaching towards the heavens, its roots delving into the depths. He was a part of it, interconnected, inseparable. The air around him shimmered, not with light, but with potential. The runes were almost within his grasp. He could feel their ancient power, their silent wisdom, waiting to be unlocked. The anticipation was almost unbearable, a thrilling tremor in his soul. He closed his eyes once more, drawing a deep, slow breath. The silence of the void embraced him, a comforting cloak. He was ready for the next step, ready for the revelation that awaited him. The runes beckoned, and Odin, the All-Father, was prepared to answer their call. The seventh night descended. A velvet darkness embraced Odin. He hung suspended, a solitary figure. His body, once a vessel for pain, felt strangely light. The sharp pangs had faded. They were whispers now, distant echoes. A profound stillness settled deep within him. His earthly concerns dissolved. The throne of Asgard seemed a distant dream. Battles fought, victories won, they were but fleeting memories. All ambition, all desire, simply drifted away. Odin felt his consciousness expand. It reached beyond his physical form. It stretched outwards like a gentle mist. He became one with the vastness of the cosmos. The roots of Yggdrasil pulsed with life. He felt their ancient rhythm. It was a slow, steady heartbeat. This beat resonated through his very being. Branches, thick and gnarled, reached towards the stars. He sensed their silent yearning. They touched distant realms. They connected all things. He was the tree. The tree was him. This merging was complete. There was no separation. The icy winds still howled. They sang an ancient song. Yet, they no longer chilled him. They were part of the whole. He felt the subtle vibrations of the 9 worlds. Each realm had its own unique hum. He sensed their distinct energies. They flowed through Yggdrasil. Asgard, bright and golden, hummed with power. Midgard, green and fertile, whispered of life. Jotunheim, cold and stark, held ancient secrets. He felt them all. The veil between worlds grew thin. It was almost transparent now. He peered through it. He saw beyond. Hidden knowledge began to stir. It was not a sudden burst. It was a gentle awakening, a slow unfurling. The runes themselves were not visible. He did not asterisk see them. They revealed themselves in another way. They were a feeling, an understanding. An ancient energy surrounded him. It hummed in the darkness. It was primal and potent. It was the essence of creation. He recognized this energy. It had always been there. It permeated everything. He simply had not perceived it. This was the energy of the runes. They were not mere symbols. They were keys. They unlocked cosmic truths. He felt the rune of Fehu. It was the warmth of new beginnings. It was the flow of abundance. It was the spark of creation. He understood its nature. It was not just wealth. It was potential. It was the fertile ground. Then came Ura's. It was strength, not brute force. It was primal strength, the power of the wild ox. It was resilience. It was endurance. It was the untamed spirit. He felt its raw power. Thurisaz followed. It was a thorn, a defense, a powerful protective force. It was the giant's might. It was disruption. It was change. It was the thunder of Mjolnir. He understood its sharp edge. Ansa's unfolded. It was breath. It was divine inspiration. It was the voice of the gods. It was Odin's own essence. It was communication. It was wisdom. It was the spoken word. He felt its profound truth. Raidho, the journey. It was movement. It was the path. It was the rhythm of life. It was a sacred pilgrimage. It was purpose. It was direction. It was the turning of the wheel. He felt its steady progression. Kanaz, the torch, a beacon in the darkness. It was knowledge. It was insight. It was the fire of creation. It was illumination. It was skill. It was the craftsman's spark. He understood its guiding light. Jibo, the gift. It was balance. It was exchange. It was connection. It was the bond between beings. It was generosity. It was partnership. It was the sacred offering. He felt its reciprocal nature. Wanjo, joy. It was harmony. It was contentment. It was the feeling of belonging. It was pure bliss. It was fellowship. It was success. It was the warmth of community. He felt its gentle embrace. Hagalaz, hail. It was disruption. It was the unexpected. It was the force of nature. It was inevitable change. It was cleansing. It was transformation. It was the shedding of old forms. He understood its necessary chaos. Notha's need. It was constraint. It was hardship. It was the stark reality. It was a lesson learned. It was resilience forged in fire. It was self-reliance. It was the path to growth. He felt its somber truth. Issa, ice. It was stillness. It was stagnation. It was a pause. It was a moment of reflection. It was preservation. It was clarity. It was the frozen moment. He understood its quiet power. Jira, harvest. It was cycle. It was reward. It was the culmination of effort. It was the turning of seasons. It was patience. It was justice. It was the reaping of what was sown. He felt its steady rhythm. I was you. It was connection. It was transformation. It was death and rebirth. It was the bridge between worlds. It was resilience. It was strength. It was the ancient tree. He understood its deep roots. Perthro, fate. It was mystery. It was the unknown. It was the roll of the dice. It was the unfolding of destiny. It was chance. It was intuition. It was the hidden path. He felt its enigmatic presence. Alga's protection. It was strength. It was defense. It was the elk's antlers. It was a shield. It was guidance. It was spiritual connection. It was the guardian spirit. He understood its watchful eye. Soilo, sun. It was victory. It was success. It was illumination. It was the bright light of truth. It was wholeness. It was energy. It was the life-giving force. He felt its radiant warmth. Tiwa's justice. It was sacrifice. It was honor. It was the warrior's path. It was the guiding star. It was leadership. It was courage. It was the pursuit of truth. He understood its unwavering principle. Burkana, birch. It was growth. It was fertility. It was new beginnings. It was nurturing. It was regeneration. It was beauty. It was the feminine principle. He felt its gentle strength. Awa's horse. It was movement. It was partnership. It was loyalty. It was trust. It was progress. It was communication. It was the journey shared. He understood its steady pace. Mana's humanity. It was self. It was community. It was the human spirit. It was interconnectedness. It was cooperation. It was potential. It was the shared journey. He felt its collective strength. Laga's water. It was flow. It was intuition. It was emotion. It was the unconscious mind. It was cleansing. It was healing. It was the deep wisdom. He understood its fluid nature. Ingwa's fertility. It was completion. It was potential. It was new life. It was inner growth. It was release. It was harmony. It was the seed of creation. He felt its quiet power. Athala, heritage. It was home. It was ancestry. It was tradition. It was inherited wisdom. It was property. It was security. It was the ancestral land. He understood its deep roots. Daga's day. It was breakthrough. It was awakening. It was transformation. It was the light of dawn. It was clarity. It was hope. It was the full illumination. He felt its radiant promise. Each rune was a cosmic force, not just a symbol. They were living energies. They pulsed with ancient power. They were the building blocks of reality. They were the patterns of existence. They were the language of the universe. This overwhelming sense of wisdom poured into him. It was not words. It was pure understanding. It was a direct knowing. It filled every fiber of his being. It permeated his very soul. He was saturated with truth. The pain was utterly gone now. It had vanished completely. There was only this profound knowing, this absolute peace. He was no longer Odin, the king. He was no longer Odin, the warrior. He was simply consciousness, pure awareness. He was the ancient, primordial force. He was the breath of creation. He was the stillness before time. The ninth night began. It was not dark. It was luminous, a soft inner light. He felt the deep pulse of Yggdrasil. It was his own pulse. They beat as one. The runes swirled around him, not visibly, but as pure energy, as patterns of light. They danced in his mind. They sang in his soul, a silent, harmonious symphony. He knew their secrets now. He understood their power. He held their wisdom. This knowledge was not for conquest. It was not for power. It was for balance, for understanding. It was for the good of all realms, for the harmony of existence, for the flow of life. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the sacrifice, for the pain, for the patience. It had all led to this moment, this revelation, this ultimate truth. He was the guardian of this knowledge, the keeper of the runes, the seer of all things. He floated in this cosmic sea, surrounded by pure potential, embraced by ancient wisdom. The stars seemed to twinkle brighter. The air felt charged with magic. The universe whispered its secrets. He breathed it all in. Every subtle vibration, every cosmic hum, every sacred truth. He was complete. He was whole. He was the All-Father. His journey had culminated. The knowledge was now part of him. It was woven into his essence. It was his very being. He would carry it forth. He would share its wisdom. He would guide the realms. But for now, he simply rested, suspended in pure knowing, bathed in the light of truth. The deep, profound peace remained, a quiet, gentle strength, a timeless understanding. He was home, in the heart of Yggdrasil, within the embrace of the runes. And so he drifted, in the silent, knowing darkness, a guardian of cosmic truth. The ninth night became eternal, a moment stretched into forever, a peace that transcended all. He was the whisper of the wind. He was the strength of the mountains. He was the wisdom of the ages. He was Odin, the All-Father, the Rune Master, forever changed, forever blessed. The profound stillness held him, a quiet, unmoving center, in the heart of all creation. He was the silence before the song, the potential before the form, the wisdom of the void. And in that stillness, he found everything. All knowledge, all truth, all peace. His being resonated with the cosmos, a harmonious chord, a perfect symphony. He was the anchor, the center, the unwavering light for all the worlds. His journey was complete, his wisdom attained, his purpose fulfilled. For now, the ninth night descended. It was a heavy cloak. Darkness pressed in closer now. A cold wind whispered past his ears. Odin felt its icy breath. His body ached with deep weariness. Every muscle screamed in protest. His vision blurred at the edges. His head throbbed with a dull ache. He clung to the rough bark. His fingers were numb. They barely felt the texture. His grip was weakening. The world spun around him slowly. He closed his eyes for a moment. He tried to steady himself. This was the last trial. He had endured so much. 9 days, 9 nights, it felt like an eternity. He had pushed past every limit. He had faced true hunger. Thirst had parched his throat. The wind had gnawed at him. Cold had seeped into his bones. Yet he had remained. He had hung there, suspended. He had sought this knowledge. He had craved these answers. The runes still eluded him. A deep sigh escaped his lips. It was a ragged, weary sound. He felt a tremor run through him. His strength was fading fast. He swayed precariously on the branch. The world tilted sideways. He fought against the dizziness. He tried to regain his balance, but his limbs refused to obey. They felt heavy, like lead. His fingers slipped a fraction. A gasp caught in his throat. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced him. He was losing his hold. He was about to fall. The abyss awaited him. He pictured the dark chasm below. It was a terrifying thought. He had faced many dangers. This felt different somehow. This was not a battle. This was a surrender. He had given his all. He had nothing left. A strange peace settled over him. It was a quiet acceptance. He had reached his limit. He had truly emptied himself. He felt the last thread give way. It was a silent snap. His fingers uncurled slowly. They released their desperate grip. He tumbled from the branch. The world rushed past him. The wind roared in his ears. It was a mighty sound. He fell through the darkness. It was a long, slow descent. He was utterly weightless. He was free of his burdens. He was falling through the void. He was falling through himself. All his expectations vanished. All his struggles dissolved. Then a light appeared. It was not a harsh light. It was soft and shimmering. It pulsed with an inner glow. It grew brighter with his fall. It surrounded him completely. He was enveloped in its warmth. It felt like pure understanding. And within that light, they appeared. They were not carved stones. They were not etched symbols. They were pure energy. They were the runes, he knew it. They floated before his mind's eye. Each one glowed with its own light. Each one held a secret. They were vibrant, living things. They shimmered with ancient power. They danced in the silent air. They spoke without words. He did not see them with his eyes. He saw them with his spirit. He perceived them with his mind. He understood them innately. The first rune unfolded. It was Fehu, the cattle. It spoke of wealth and abundance. It spoke of new beginnings. He felt its meaning resonate. It was not just material wealth. It was the abundance of life. It was the flow of creation. The second rune shimmered. It was Ura's, the wild ox. It spoke of strength and endurance. It spoke of untamed power. He understood its raw energy. It was not just physical might. It was the primal force within. It was the will to survive. Then Thurisaz, the thorn. It spoke of protection and defense. It spoke of challenges and trials. It spoke of necessary pain. He grasped its duality. It could wound, but it could guard. It was the sharp edge of truth. It was a lesson hard learned. Ansa's, the mouth, appeared. It spoke of communication and wisdom. It spoke of divine inspiration. It spoke of sacred utterance. He felt its profound depth. It was the power of speech itself. It was the song of the universe. It was the breath of life. Radho, the journey, emerged. It spoke of travel and rhythm. It spoke of cycles and progress. It spoke of destiny's path. He saw the winding road. It was not just a physical journey. It was the journey of the soul. It was the unfolding of fate. Then Kanaz, the torch. It spoke of knowledge and insight. It spoke of creativity and passion. It spoke of illumination. He felt its warmth spread. It was the light of understanding. It was the spark of genius. It was the flame of transformation. Jibo, the gift, unfolded. It spoke of generosity and balance. It spoke of partnership and exchange. It spoke of sacred bonds. He understood its reciprocity. It was not just receiving. It was the joy of giving. It was the harmony of connection. Wanjo, joy, shimmered. It spoke of happiness and contentment. It spoke of fellowship and peace. It spoke of true bliss. He felt its pure delight. It was the reward of effort. It was the essence of well-being. It was the heart's true desire. Hagalaz, the hail, appeared. It spoke of disruption and change. It spoke of natural forces. It spoke of inevitable upheaval. He sensed its wild power. It was not destructive, but transformative. It was the necessary storm. It cleared the way for growth. Nada's need emerged. It spoke of necessity and constraint. It spoke of patience and endurance. It spoke of self-reliance. He understood its stern lesson. It was the crucible of character. It was the strength born of struggle. It was the path to mastery. Issa, ice, unfolded. It spoke of stillness and pause. It spoke of introspection and clarity. It spoke of quiet strength. He felt its cool embrace. It was not stagnation, but potential. It was the time for reflection. It was the peace before action. Jira, the harvest, shimmered. It spoke of cycles and results. It spoke of patience and reward. It spoke of natural justice. He saw the turning seasons. It was the culmination of effort. It was the fruit of perseverance. It was the promise fulfilled. Iwez, the you, appeared. It spoke of death and rebirth. It spoke of transformation and wisdom. It spoke of eternal life. He felt its ancient power. It was the bridge between worlds. It was the cycle of existence. It was the mystery of being. Perthro, fate, emerged. It spoke of mystery and chance. It spoke of destiny and choice. It spoke of hidden knowledge. He glimpsed its elusive nature. It was the hand of the Norns. It was the unfolding of what must be. It was the dance of possibility. Alga's protection unfolded. It spoke of defense and sanctuary. It spoke of spiritual connection. It spoke of divine aid. He felt its gentle shield. It was the guardian of the spirit. It was the strength of conviction. It was the grace of the gods. Sowilo, the sun, shimmered. It spoke of success and vitality. It spoke of honor and enlightenment. It spoke of radiant power. He basked in its warmth. It was the light of the world. It was the triumph of spirit. It was the glory of life. Tiwaz, the god Tyr, appeared. It spoke of justice and sacrifice. It spoke of leadership and victory. It spoke of moral courage. He understood its unwavering truth. It was the law of the cosmos. It was the strength of conviction. It was the path of honor. Burkano, the birch, emerged. It spoke of growth and renewal. It spoke of healing and fertility. It spoke of new beginnings. He felt its gentle energy. It was the embrace of nature. It was the promise of spring. It was the cycle of life. Awaz, the horse, unfolded. It spoke of partnership and trust. It spoke of progress and movement. It spoke of loyal companionship. He saw its graceful stride. It was the bond between beings. It was the journey shared. It was the harmony of purpose. Mana's humanity shimmered. It spoke of self and community. It spoke of human potential. It spoke of interconnections. He understood its profound truth. It was the essence of being human. It was the reflection of the divine. It was the unity of all. Laga's water appeared. It spoke of intuition and emotion. It spoke of flow and purification. It spoke of the subconscious. He felt its deep currents. It was the wellspring of wisdom. It was the ocean of being. It was the source of life. Ingwaz, the god Ing, emerged. It spoke of fertility and completion. It spoke of inner growth. It spoke of potential realized. He felt its quiet power. It was the seed of creation. It was the fulfillment of purpose. It was the culmination of effort. Daga's day unfolded. It spoke of breakthroughs and awakening. It spoke of clarity and hope. It spoke of new opportunities. He saw its radiant dawn. It was the light after darkness. It was the moment of revelation. It was the promise of a new day. Athala, heritage, shimmered. It spoke of ancestry and home. It spoke of tradition and legacy. It spoke of sacred space. He felt its deep roots. It was the connection to the past. It was the foundation of identity. It was the wisdom of generations. All 24 runes. They flashed before him. They swirled in a vibrant dance. Each one distinct, yet connected. They were not merely symbols. They were living forces. They were the very fabric of existence. They were the secrets of the cosmos. He understood their language. It was not spoken words. It was a language of pure meaning. It was the voice of the universe. The understanding was instantaneous. It was not learned knowledge. It was a sudden, profound knowing. It was an awakening of spirit. He grasped them, not with hands, He grasped them with his mind. He absorbed them into his being. They became a part of him. A wave of wisdom washed over him. It was a powerful surge. It filled every fiber of his being. It felt like pure light. He felt a deep calm descend. All pain vanished completely. All weariness dissolved. He was utterly renewed. He was no longer falling. He was suspended in the light. He was surrounded by the runes. He was one with their essence. His mind expanded infinitely. He saw the threads of fate. He understood their intricate weaving. He perceived their grand design. He saw the past and the future. He saw the hidden connections. He saw the patterns of existence. He saw the truth of all things. He felt enlightened. He felt transformed. He was no longer just Odin the Seeker. He was Odin, the All-Father of wisdom. The runes had revealed themselves. They had chosen him. They had given him their secrets. They had made him their vessel. A profound sense of purpose. It settled within his heart. He knew his path now. He knew his destiny. He had paid the price. He had made the sacrifice. He had endured the suffering. He had gained true wisdom. The light began to fade. The runes softened their glow. They receded gently from his mind, but their knowledge remained. He felt himself rising. He was no longer falling. He was ascending slowly. He was returning to the world. He carried the runes within. They were etched in his soul. They were a part of his essence. They were his eternal truth. He was changed forever. He was no longer the same. He was reborn in wisdom. He was the keeper of the runes. The transformation was complete. The seeker had found. The God had awakened. The All-Father had emerged. He knew his journey was not over. It was only just beginning. He had a sacred duty now. He had the runes to share. He would guide his people. He would bring them light. He would teach them the secrets. He would share the wisdom he had gained. The air grew cool around him. He felt the familiar chill. He felt the rough bark again. He was back on Yggdrasil. He was no longer hanging. He was standing on a branch. His feet felt solid beneath him. His body felt strong again. He looked up at the stars. They seemed to twinkle brighter. They seemed to hold new meaning. They were part of the grand design. He looked down at the roots. They stretched into the darkness. They held the world together. They spoke of deep connection. A quiet smile touched his lips. It was a smile of understanding. It was a smile of peace. It was the smile of wisdom. He had found what he sought. He had found it within himself. He had found it in the darkness. He had found it in the light. The runes were his now. Their power was his to wield. Their wisdom was his to share. Their secrets were his to keep. He was the All-Father. He was the Wise One. He was Odin, and the world would know his name. A profound quiet settled. Odin's eyelids fluttered. He felt a lightness, a new awareness. The world shimmered with hidden meanings. His body, once weary, now hummed with a subtle energy. He pushed himself up slowly. The branches of Yggdrasil cradled him gently. The wind whispered secrets through its leaves. He understood those whispers now. They spoke of creation, of destiny, of the intricate weave of existence. His single eye, now wide and clear, perceived more than before. It saw the invisible threads connecting all things. It saw the flow of magic, the ancient currents of power. A deep calm filled him. He looked down at his hands. They were no longer rough and calloused. They felt refined, imbued with a new sensitivity. He clenched them, then relaxed them. The very air around him seemed to respond. He slid down from the tree. His descent was graceful, almost effortless. His feet touched the dew-kissed grass. Each blade seemed to glow with a faint inner light. He felt a connection to the very earth beneath him. The Mimir S well still pulsed nearby. Its waters reflected the endless sky. He knelt beside it. He saw his reflection. It was Odin, yet transformed. His face held a new serenity, a profound depth of understanding. His long beard, once wild, now seemed to flow with an inner luminescence. His cloak, though still humble, draped with an almost regal air. He was the All-Father, truly. The sacrifice had reshaped him. He closed his eye. Images flickered behind his eyelids. They were not just images. They were concepts, truths, ancient memories. The runes, vibrant and alive, danced within his mind's eye. He saw their forms, their sounds, their meanings. He understood their lineage, their power, their sacred purpose. They were not merely symbols. They were keys, keys to unlocking the universe's mysteries. He opened his eye again. The world seemed to hum with their presence. He reached out a hand. He traced a shape in the air. It was a rune, the first of many. It glowed faintly, then faded. A raven, Hugin perhaps, landed silently on his shoulder. It tilted its head. Its intelligent eyes met Odin's. Odin smiled. He spoke, but not with words. He spoke with thought, with pure understanding. The raven ruffled its feathers. It seemed to understand him perfectly. Odin felt a surge of warmth. This was his wisdom. This was the gift of the runes. It was not just knowledge. It was empathy. He stood. He looked out at the vast expanse of the cosmos. The stars glittered like scattered jewels. Each one held a story. Each story was interwoven with the others. He felt a part of it all. He began to walk. His steps were measured, deliberate. He felt no urgency, only purpose. He knew where he needed to go. He knew what he needed to do. The world awaited his wisdom. He walked through ancient groves. The trees bowed slightly as he passed. The forest creatures watched him with reverence. They sensed the change within him. They sensed the power he now carried. He saw a young deer limping. Its leg was twisted awkwardly. Pain clouded its eyes. Odin paused. He knelt beside the creature. He placed his newly refined hand on its injured limb. He closed his eye again. He focused his thoughts. He envisioned the rune of healing. a swirling symbol of wholeness. He gently poured his newfound energy into the deer's leg. A soft light emanated from his hand. The deer flinched, then relaxed. Its muscles began to knit together. The twisted limb straightened. The pain receded from its eyes. The deer stood. It took a tentative step, then another. It looked at Odin. A silent gratitude filled its gaze. It bounded away, strong and free once more. Odin smiled. This was the first application of his wisdom. It was not for glory. It was for healing. It was for balance. He understood the profound responsibility that came with such power. He continued his journey. He encountered an old woman. Her face was etched with worry. Her harvest had failed. Her family faced starvation. Despair clung to her like a shroud. Odin approached her. He spoke gently. His voice was no longer booming. It was calm, resonant, filled with a quiet authority. He asked about her plight. She poured out her troubles. He listened patiently. He saw the truth of her words. He saw the hunger in her eyes. He saw the fear in her heart. He knew what he must do. He extended his hand. He traced a rune in the soil of her barren field. It was the rune of abundance, of growth, of prosperity. He focused his will. The earth beneath his fingers seemed to tremble. A faint green glow spread from the rune. It seeped into the soil. The old woman gasped. She looked at her field. Tiny green shoots began to push through the dry earth. They grew rapidly, miraculously. The barren land transformed before her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. She fell to her knees. She bowed her head in reverence. Odin simply nodded. He knew she would use this gift wisely. He understood the delicate balance. Power, unchecked, could be destructive. Wisdom, however, guided power towards creation. He would always strive for that balance. He continued his walk through the realms. He saw the suffering. He saw the injustice. He saw the desperate need for guidance. He knew his purpose was clear. He would not wield the runes carelessly. He would not bestow them upon the unworthy. Their sacredness must be preserved. Their power must be respected. He sought out those with open hearts. He sought out those with inquiring minds. He sought out those who understood the weight of knowledge. To these, and only these, he would share his gift. He found a young warrior struggling with a difficult decision. His path was unclear. His heart was troubled. Odin appeared before him, seemingly from nowhere. The warrior was startled. He looked at the old, one-eyed man. He felt an inexplicable sense of peace. He spoke of his dilemma. Odin listened. He saw the warrior's true nature. He saw his courage. He saw his sense of honor. He knew this warrior was worthy. He did not give the warrior the answer directly. Instead, he spoke of choices. He spoke of consequences. He spoke of the inner wisdom that resides within all beings. He drew a rune in the dust with his staff. It was the rune of guidance, of clarity, of inner strength. He explained its meaning, its potential. The warrior looked at the rune. He felt a sudden understanding. The path that had been obscured now seemed clear. He looked at Odin with profound gratitude. Odin simply smiled. He faded away as silently as he had appeared. The warrior was left with the rune and with a newfound clarity of purpose. Word of Odin's transformation spread. Tales of his quiet wisdom began to circulate throughout the realms. He was no longer just a king. He was the All-Father, the keeper of secrets. The world subtly changed. It was not a dramatic shift. It was a gentle settling. A deeper understanding permeated the very fabric of existence. The winds carried his wisdom. The rivers flowed with his insights. The mountains stood firm, embodying his steadfastness. He had become one with the cosmos. He established the sacred halls. These were places of learning. These were places of contemplation. Here, the worthy could come to seek his guidance. He taught them the forms of the runes. He taught them their sounds. He taught them their profound meanings. He taught them the responsibility that came with such power. He warned them against misuse. He warned them against greed. He warned them against arrogance. The runes were a gift, not a weapon. He spoke of balance. He spoke of harmony. He spoke of the interconnectedness of all life. His words resonated with ancient truths. The students listened. They learned. They carried his wisdom out into the world. They became the keepers of the runic knowledge. Odin watched them. He saw the flame of understanding flicker in their eyes. He saw the potential for good grow within their hearts. His sacrifice had not been in vain. He often returned to Yggdrasil. He would sit beneath its ancient branches. He would listen to the whispers of the wind. He would feel the pulse of the universe. He was forever changed. The pain of his ordeal had faded. It had been replaced by a quiet strength. The sacrifice had forged him anew. He was the All-Father. He was the keeper of wisdom. He was the protector of the runes. His journey was far from over. It had just begun. But now the knowledge was his. He carried it with grace. He wielded it with purpose. He shared it with love. The ancient world settled into a new rhythm. A rhythm of wisdom. A rhythm of peace. A rhythm guided by the All-Father's enduring sacrifice. And so, the runes became a part of the world. They were whispered in spells. They were carved into charms. They were understood by the worthy. They were a legacy of Odin's courage, a legacy of his sacrifice, a legacy of his profound wisdom. The stars continued their silent dance. The moon cast its gentle glow. The world slept, knowing that the All-Father watched over them. His wisdom permeated every fiber of existence. It was in the rustling leaves. It was in the flowing rivers. It was in the beating hearts of all living things. And as the night deepened, a profound sense of peace settled over the realms. A peace born of sacrifice and of wisdom and of the enduring power of the runes. Odin, the All-Father, watched. His single eye, bright with understanding, saw all. He was content. His purpose was clear. His wisdom was shared. The world was safe. The runes were protected. And the quiet hum of ancient knowledge filled the very air. Sleep, peaceful and deep, now descended. The tale was told. The wisdom was shared. And the world rested, embraced by the All-Father's gentle light. The power of the runes, now understood, flowed freely. It was a power for creation. It was a power for healing. It was a power for wisdom. And so the story ends. The sacrifice was made. The wisdom was gained. And the world was forever changed for the better. A quiet hush fell over the cosmos. All was well. All was calm. All was peaceful. The All-Father's wisdom shone brightly. The runes pulsed with a soft inner light. They whispered secrets to the wind. They carried ancient truths across the realms. Odin, the one-eyed god, stood as a beacon of knowledge, a beacon of sacrifice, a beacon of enduring wisdom. His story became a part of the very fabric of the universe. A tale of transformation, a tale of enlightenment, a tale of profound understanding. And as the night deepened, the quiet hum of the runes filled the air. A lullaby of ancient power, a song of eternal wisdom. The world slept, safe in the knowledge that the All-Father's wisdom watched over them. Forever and always. The end. If these whispers brought you rest, you're welcome to subscribe for more calm tales. A gentle, like also guides fellow night owls here.